the membership. And don't forget to record the meeting. And
Thanks for reminding me that.
that was my job. I failed, obviously, miserably. But there are a lot of exciting things coming from Kiwanis International and from the Pennsylvania District as it is concerning to membership. But you know, the best thing that we have going for ourselves as membership is what we do as Kiwanis clubs. You know, everyone has, if you've heard a presentation of mine before, you heard me talk about tools and resources. Those of you keeping track at home, for 5 tools and resources that I mentioned, you get the opportunity to be entered into a drawing. I won't tell you what the drawing is for. The second part is we have some new things that Kiwanis International has come out with. One being the 2 for 2 program, which every club should have received. But the other thing that we have is that a lot of clubs are being very creative in the ways in which they are boosting their membership, whether that be through a boost that they have done. We have the booklets for that as well, or whether that be something that they've done on their own. And those are important things to note because each of us is representative of a different community, and each one of our communities requires different needs to be met. And our Kiwanis clubs can meet those needs the best way possible by getting to know the people in the community and by getting to know what it is that we have available to be able to do. So just by a show of hands, for those of you who are able to share, how many of you are intimately familiar with the Kiwanis.org membership resources website? Okay. For those of you who are not, we're going to take a little bit of a tour into there today before we get into some other things. The one thing that we will then talk about is if there's anything anybody would like to share at the end, any questions they want to have, make it be an open forum, open discussion, so that we can do it. You know, a lot of times you'll hear us talk about numbers and benchmarks as district leaders, and you know, that's important for us to know where we're headed and the trends that we're following and the direction that Kiwanis continues to go. But when it comes to what you as Kiwanis clubs can do, these websites really show us a lot of great value. The items that you're about to see are designed in a way that you can implement them in your club. Having said that, if you feel that these are things that you would rather not implement on your own and you need some help, you know, contact your lieutenant governor, your trustee, contact me, contact Mike. We will make sure that we get somebody to you to help you walk through them. A lot of the things are great for club programs. So without further ado, give me just 1 second here and I will share my screen here. So this is the main landing page, Kiwanis.org, and it is the public facing website. This is where if you go as a non-Kiwanian or Kiwanian, but if you go as an individual looking to find information about Kiwanis, this is where you will go. And it has stories and news and articles and everything about Kiwanis. But when you get to there, up on the upper right hand side, there under the black, there's member resources. And so we're going to go ahead and click that. And you know, the one thing about this design is a lot of people just, you know, depending on how your computer is laid out, you'll see this. You'll see the virtual club resources. You'll see the member login for those of you who are able to access that. You'll see membership and education, training, governance, strategic plan, district reports, events, awards, and funding. All things club related. But there's so many other things as you scroll down that give you resources to help you with service leadership programs, service projects, recipes for success, which were featured in one of the recent newsletters or emails that we got from Kiwanis International. Kiwanis partners to help us understand some organizations that are in our communities to help provide additional services that we have, ways to outreach to members or ways to engage with media, whether it be the media on newsprint or television or your club website or social media, graphics templates for PR and logos, ways in which you can celebrate a club anniversary. These are all resources that are here and available to help improve your club. But there's a few things that I want to target here, and we'll just kind of do them in order on this page first. And, this first one is recipes for success. And you may or may not have seen this already, but what this is for are ways in which that you can use talking points with your club to have a strategic conversation with them, to get people excited into Kiwanis. Maybe you're having a club that your members just kind of are there and you're going through the motions, but there's no excitement anymore. Maybe there's been a rash of I don't know. I don't even know a good example there, but I guess a rash of things that have been going on, that have not necessarily been successful. But, these are talking points that you can use. These are things that you can go through, and there's service, there's membership, there's fundraising. Each one of these, this is one of the coolest one. It's make meetings fun. And it's 5 ways to energize your club. And for those of you who have traditional meetings weekly and always have a guest speaker at those meetings, think about having someone that can lead the club in an activity so that they're not necessarily just standing there speaking to the club, kind of like I am now, but maybe it's something that guides them through an activity. Or often some clubs will substitute one of their regular meetings for a hands-on service project that is easy to do, whether that be a backpack project or a card writing project or something to re-engage members there. Do something, do a no meeting Wednesday or Thursday or Friday or whatever. And instead of having a meeting, go and volunteer somewhere at a food pantry or at a youth center or a housing coalition. The possibilities really are endless. Make it a social event, move your meeting for a social if you don't have something like that. So again, I don't want to spend too much time and take away from all the other things, but these are there and they're only best used when we actually access them and use them. Another one, though, that is pretty critical is engaging potential new members, but also we have to focus on our existing members and making sure that they feel valued and they feel motivated and that they continually see the value like we do in Kiwanis. We all know that the value in Kiwanis is there, or else we would not be on this call this evening. Whatever reason you had for being on this call proves that you still have that drive within you to make your club and your community better. So the ones that they have available here in member outreach, you can get tips on engaging current members. And let's just look at that for 1 second here. Engaging them in ways that you may not have thought is the best practice, but lead them in a conversation to do some planning. Now's a good time to do that. We're approaching the halfway year already of the Kiwanis year, and that's a great way to see what we've done for the year and what we've left to do in our community. And you may have heard the community analysis tool that will help you understand what's going on outwardly. But also new member surveys are a way in which you can engage existing members, as long as you do something with the data that you collect. If you do a new member survey and you do not get participation, or you do not get a lot of people to be truthful on it, then it's not really of value to you. But a lot of times the conversation surrounding that, whether it be these questions here: what do you enjoy most about being a member of our club? What is our club's greatest strength? But also, if you could change one thing about our club, what would it be and why? And you want this environment to be something that is so welcoming for the member who you're having this conversation with, because those environments are where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. You're going to get a member who is truthful and excited. And the fact that they're engaged in that conversation will bleed some more excitement into them as well. And you can see there's a whole litany of different opportunities here that you can do. Ways in which you can invite new members. So obviously the one thing that I've talked about was the 2-for-2 program, and we'll get to that in a second with an exciting announcement about that. But the part about invite new members, I say it a slightly different way, but you can read it right here on the screen. 74% of members joined a Kiwanis Club because someone invited them. And for 48% of that 74%, it was a friend or relative that invited them. But I always say, what's the number one reason why people do not join Kiwanis? And the answer to that, quite frankly, is because they haven't been asked. And one thing a caveat with that is that no doesn't always mean no forever. Everybody's life changes daily. And so maybe no right now, but a year or two down the road, their life has changed a little bit, and maybe now is time. I know a club that once developed an elevator speech contest, and they turned that into something fun, and then they used that as a promotion for that. But there are so many different ways in which you can go and talk to potential members. But the one thing that you can do is to host a membership drive. And a membership drive and new club opening are the process is nearly one and the same. It's nearly identical. And you don't have, here's a Kiwanis myth number one. You do not have to wait until May to host a membership drive. You can do a membership drive at any time of the year. And as long as you're prepared for it, this can really be what you make it. The idea here is to do what works best for your club. It doesn't always necessarily have to be something formal. It doesn't always necessarily have to be something that has a strict agenda. But what it does have to do is it has to paint a picture of what your club does in the community for the people that you're meeting with and inviting. And so the hosting a membership drive tool right here that I will just highlight. This is something that will walk you through step by step on how to do it. And I mean, there's a detail here that's an overview. With step 1 is prepare, step 2 is invite, and step 3 is follow up. And it sounds simple, but in reality, if you have an organized person, they're the best person to coordinate the membership drive. And the tool is right here for you to click on, and you can download. If you have an Achieving Club Excellence book at home, you can access it there as well. So that's just another option. Brochures, a lot of times, there's no need for us to recreate the wheel when we're going out. You can create a personalized brochure for your club, or you can use a template that customizes your message, and you could have them printed. You could use the standard invitation that they have, or you could work with someone to develop your own brochure or your own flyer. A lot of clubs will do that, and they will kind of take the lead from Kiwanis, and they'll put on the end of their trifold the application as well. Have those with you have those ready to go at a moment's notice, because you never know when the opportunity is going to present itself, especially at a Kiwanis related function. But these are the way that you should approach the Kiwanis brochure, basically, when it's specific to your club, is that if you have a club website, which could be a whole other conversation, but if you have a club website and you have a club brochure, the brochure should be the paper form of the website at the higher level. So this is something there to think about if you don't have already. And then different ways to engage through different communications, club email, print materials, and then different PowerPoint presentations if you need them. And I just touch on that just to show that they are there. I will not get too much into the PR, because that will touch on a different chair, different power hour, what have you. But those are some of the great resources that I wanted to show from the club playbook. But then I want to delve in for just a few more minutes and click on membership and education. And this is where we are going to see all things membership, whether it is opening new clubs, which we have a great new club opening team this year. Proud to share that we have one new club open in Danville, Pennsylvania, who will be chartering officially in April, but the organizational meeting is done. We're working on one in Exton area, and we're working on one up near Region 1 near Erie. And so the club opening team, led by Kathy Szymanski, is doing a great job doing that. Club strengthening and education are two great places to gather some ideas, learn from each other, learn from best practices. And I'll click on the club strengthening resources. And there are so many different things that you can utilize here. And I'm going to jump down to, because of the focus of the folks that are on here, I'm going to jump down to sustaining clubs. These are some of the things that were discussed before. Some of them are new, some of them may be completely new for you. But one of my favorite activities to do with a membership committee, if I'm asked to come in and meet with them or meet with a club, is to utilize these character cards. We've done them at district convention before. We've used them at mid-year. We've used them at some other things. But this is where a lot of times you can prepare yourself. Practice makes perfect, right? And a lot of times when we are meeting with prospective members, people get nervous because they don't know exactly what to say or what to do. It's not that they don't love Kiwanis and they don't want to share Kiwanis with others. It's not that they are intimidated by other people or they don't know what to do. It's just that it's sometimes not everybody's forte. And so this will walk us through different people where these cards can be used. You know, we're introduced to a character who is based on a real life individual. And once we get to know this character, we walk through a discussion, and we have a discussion on what's the best way to approach this particular individual about joining the club. What does your particular club offer someone like this? If it doesn't offer someone like this anything, what can you do to change that? And then take that conversation and allow that to snowball into something strategic. What will keep this individual engaged in your club if they decide to join? And you can see that there are 7 different character cards here for you to choose from. These were also mailed out to club secretaries a few years ago, but you know, the PDF is available right here for you. You can print them out, you can use them. We can use them, you know, either way is fine. So that's one of the things that I wanted to share with you. The clearinghouse for it is under ACE tools. These are ACE tools, Achieving Club Excellence tools. These are the tried and true. You know, they really haven't changed in the last 5 to 7 years. They haven't changed at all. I'm sure they've gotten some refresh on their branding. There's been a couple minor adjustments to it, but you know, use one of them, use all of them. The one thing about this is that you will definitely, and I guarantee it, you will get out of it what you put into it. this shows the concerns on the left-hand column, and then it directs you to certain tools that can help. And it may seem daunting because it can be if you're not used to it, but again, that's where I would recommend reach out to your lieutenant governor, reach out to your trustee, reach out to me, reach out to Mike. That's why we are here. We will help guide you through things. And, I'll just open one here. It walks you through the audience. It walks you through what you should do and how to do it. And, community conversations, inspirational conversations. These are ones that can be done individually or as a small group. There are so many different ways that these can be implemented, and you will be shocked at what comes out of them. Creating the purpose and analyzing the impact are some of the ones that really can delve into your work that you do, because you might be thinking, well, I came here to learn about membership. What does talking about the service projects that we do have to do with asking a member to join? Well, we sell ourselves. We sell ourselves to the people who want to subscribe to us. And as we talk about in boosting, you're selling your club to this new member. And if this new member doesn't find value in it, and your projects are outdated, not saying that they are, but if your projects are outdated or your community needs are going unfilled while we're still doing something that we did for 30 years, but it's not really having an impact anymore. That person's going to go find somewhere that they can help impact those needs. Same with existing members. If they feel that their service is no longer being of value to meet the needs of the community and the mission of the club, then they will find a way to go do it that's not in Kiwanis, and that's the last thing we want. So this one is one of my favorites because this will find your niche. It will reassure you that if you've been doing a project for 30 years, that it's the right thing to do. Like I said earlier, the world has changed around us. And I'm not saying that just because you've done something for 30 years, you need to redo it or figure out a new way of doing it. You need to just assure yourself that you're still on the right track and that you are meeting those needs in the community. But the best part about this particular one is the last part, and this walks you through that. But this is a way to have a conversation about creating club change. I'm not saying do change for change's sake, but if you walk through this and you've done some other surveys and you've done some analyses with community members, there's a couple questions that you can talk about with your club members or your board to figure out what changes in the club operations that the club needs to and are willing to make. I mean, there's a give and take here, and that's understandable. Obviously, the way to do this is to get the buy-in from all the members, but it's a conversation. It's a conversation that can help you at the club level. This is a conversation that we've had at the district level. This is a conversation that Mike and I have basically had as far as what we're doing, as far as a membership committee is concerned. It's what works. What are we doing right now that works, that's meeting a need that people are really, in love with? What should we stop doing and why? Always have a why. Thinking back to Sarah's theme about start with why. Even when we're stopping something, we need to start that conversation with why we're doing it. But are there other things out there that we're not doing that we should probably be trying to do? And let's start doing, whether that be service project related, or whether that be, let's start taking the third meeting of the month and turning it into a club social, or let's start doing a club social once a quarter, or let's start doing once a month, we'll have a service project at a meeting, or once a quarter, things like that. But then the most important part there is follow-up. What then should the club do to accomplish those changes. Who's responsible? What are we going to do to make sure that these things keep going, to make sure that we stop doing the things that are no longer relevant, and to make sure that we start doing the things that are going to make a larger impact in our community. So again, you can tell I'm passionate about that one. But the final thing, I'm going to back out to the member resources page and touch a little bit on 2 for 2. Not going to talk a lot about 2 for 2, but you also should have received this in the mail from Kiwanis International. It's been emailed out, it's been on social media, it's been sent out about every way possible. But this is a month by month, year-long club operation for growing your membership person to person. And it's pretty simple. You basically walk through the worksheet that allows you to determine 2 members for the month of March are going to go and work to recruit 2 individuals from the community to join Kiwanis. And then repeat for April, repeat for May, repeat for June, so on and so forth. Now, it gets a lot more detailed. It's pretty straightforward, but there is a guide that I'm not going to necessarily go into here tonight, but you all have access to the guide here. But what I will say is that we are having a presentation on 2 for 2 at mid-year, which is on the 25th of this month, virtual this year. And so please be sure that if you haven't signed up for our mid-year conference, that you do so, because there's going to be a lot of great things, including a presentation by our Kiwanis International Area Director, Emily Salfrank, assisted by myself on this 2 for 2 program. There are clubs that have utilized this, that have done a lot of great work with it. It's just coming out. So of course, don't forget, it is the first time for a program like that. So there are some things that they will improve upon, but I'll stop talking. I spoke for about 29 minutes here, so I'll stop and ask if there's any questions on anything so far that I've addressed. I'll turn it back around and ask the question of everyone on here. Have you utilized any or all of the things that I've talked about? And if so, can you tell us a little bit about the experience, whether it was positive or negative? It's good feedback and we can all learn from it. Anybody want to share? Debbie? Debbie, you're muted.
There we go. Okay, I'm with the Levittown Bristol Club, and we did a member survey last year. Myself and another member developed an online survey that we could email to everyone. It wasn't anonymous. There was no way we could know who submitted the answers, and there were a couple of members that did not have email, and we sent it to them with a self-addressed stamped envelope so they could return it easily. And we got about 35% response, which isn't too bad.
No.
And then we took a look at it and we highlighted in yellow things that needed improvement. We highlighted in green the things that we do well. And then we brought it to the membership and said, okay, here's what we've got. And what do you think? And at that meeting, we also put up some pages on the cabinets that had key headings, and we gave everybody a sticky pad, and they would write down what they thought about it and stick it up on the board, so to speak. And we're going to take a look at those. We did find out about 3 key areas, mostly for improvement, of course, but we do well. And so we're going to be taking a look at that. Some of them is beyond our control, like dues. But some of the other things like more the community knowing our name, we need to get our name out more. We needed to get our club out more so people know we exist. And also even the Kiwanis name. I've had several people say, oh, I'm with Kiwanis. What is Kiwanis? They don't know what it is. So I'm trying to encourage all of our members to become spokespeople, not only for Kiwanis International, but for the Levittown Bristol Club, and let them know that the organization as a whole is, you know, super, super. And then we got a club right in your own backyard that's doing all these great things for the kids. So it was a good experience to see what the members thought.
You know, thank you for sharing that. It's interesting to see how that will progress too as you implement a lot of those things. Have you had any successes in implementing any, or is it too early yet?
It's too early yet.
Well, thank you for sharing. Penny, I think you had your hand up earlier as well.
I did. Our club is using the 2 for 2, and I believe it's working out quite successfully. The thing with the 2 for 2 though is it doesn't just end in your month. I mean, sometimes it takes a little longer than that month for those members to think about it and say yes. So, you know, this month we're going to induct 4 new members who have been for the last 2 months. And out of those 4 members, there will be 2 more coming because one of the new members' wife is now going to join. So, you know, it's all a domino effect, but you can't give up just because that first month your 2 for 2 didn't work. You just kind of keep after it, and the next 2 people are doing their 2 for 2. So you could end up with your 4 all in one meeting.
Well, that's a good point. I'm glad you shared that too, because the idea behind 2 for 2 is, you know, if you invite, it's a rough idea, but if you invite 24 people to join in a year's time, hopefully you'll get 50% of them, you know. And what do you think about this? I mean, just in your own club, what would the difference mean to your club if you brought in 12 new members in a year? You know, just think about not numbers specifically, you know, not where you would be, but what energy that would bring into your club, the new ideas, the new connections, the new people to add to your list to go talk to about joining Kiwanis, just everything, and just what that influx will do to your club. So
I think too, Matt, one of the things that we're using that's successful is the fact that, well, you know, the first thing they say is, well, I don't like meetings, you know. So we do stress that they do not have to attend the board meetings. However, they will find that our member meetings can be quite interesting because we have gone into doing service projects or socials or something different other than a meeting at our member meeting. And when you explain that to them as what's coming up when we do our reading across Pennsylvania in March, you know, we'll be reading and also doing a little project for the kids to make little flower pots and things while we're doing the reading. So, you know, it excites them that we're helping these kids. And when you explain the needs of these kids, there you have it.
mm-hmm.
That's it.
Thank you. Does anybody else want to share any success stories?
Hi, this is Kim from District 13 in Shippensburg, PA.
Hi, Kim. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks. I have a kind of a different question, but it pertains to membership. I have a club. We are very small in numbers, 8, including myself. I am the youngest one, and all of the others have been there for probably 20 years or more. I'm stuck in the position where, well, we've always done this, or we're too old to do that. And I'm trying to figure out how to get us out of that rut. How do I do that? Any ideas, suggestions? And you all seem like you come from bigger groups than what I have.
No, I think you'd be surprised at the numbers of some of our small but mighty clubs that we have. But I'm glad you joined tonight, and I'm glad that you brought up that question. Before I take a stab at it, I'll ask if anybody else on here has run into that issue specifically or similarly. So the one thing I'd like to do is, sorry, Debbie, go ahead. Yep.
That's okay. I was gonna say, I'm finding that I've been with this club, this is my second and almost 2 years now, and when I'm trying to get things documented on how we do service projects, because we had our treasurer took a health problem and somebody had to step in, and that person didn't really know what to do. So, and I hear a lot, well, we've always done it that way. And I just keep coming back to, well, we always did it that way, but we don't have to always do it that way. And one of my, I'm going to be president next year, and one of my initiatives is to assign a co-chair to our committees, that co-chair would be responsible for documenting how a service project is done, so that if we get in the position, we know what to do. I would have liked to know that. It's one thing to know how to be a president. It's another thing, what does our club president do? So I just threw that out there.
Thanks for sharing that. I liked how you reframed the we've always done it that way conversation. The other thing that I would recommend, Kim, too, is to take a look, and I'm happy to sit down and talk with you a little further if you'd like, or put you in touch with your district or your divisional leadership. But the one thing that I touched on earlier, and Val, I see your hand, I will get to you too, was some of the resources that were available in the Achieving Club Excellence website. The first one, and probably the most important one, I would recommend would be to walk through the exercise of creating the purpose. And we don't want to assume that just because we're all Kiwanians, and even though it's a small group, that we all have the same purpose of being here. And that's okay. It's okay that we have different reasons for joining the club. Every one of us on these blocks on the screen probably has a different reason for being in Kiwanis. But I would say that would be a good place to start, only because it lays the groundwork for a successful and insightful conversation. But then I would follow that up with a conversation about either rediscovering your community or analyzing your impact. And what they'll walk you through are some of the ways in which you can meet with community leaders and understand what the true what the true issues are in the community, and how Kiwanis can help address those needs. Because when we start doing that and start talking about community partnerships, you'll be amazed at how many people are saying, how can I help? Here's the issue. This is Kiwanis is tackling it. And if it's an issue that is of that utmost importance in the community, people are going to recognize what you're doing, and they're going to want to help you do it because it's that important to them. And so, as you can see, then that will snowball into other things. And really, I would tie that together with the analyzing the impact. And I'm not saying this to over data everyone. I don't want to have it be data overload or exercise overload. But if we are going to affect any type of cultural change, and that's a significant cultural change for a club that is has a majority of people who are saying, well, we've always done it that way. We have to be willing to put in the work. And, that's the hard part, because we are constantly being tugged from all different directions anymore for different responsibilities. And so it is tough, but we have to be willing to put in that work. And it's funny that this conversation led us to where we were, because I was going to end on this, but I think now is a good time to bring it up. I don't know if anybody has heard of the author by the name of John Gordon. John Gordon is a motivational self-development type author. His newest book that he came out with is a sequel. The sequel was the original book was called The Coffee Bean, but his sequel to that was called How to Be a Coffee Bean. I'll try to put that right here. And the one thing that he has in here, and it is just different one-page motivational things that really can have an impact. And you can see right here, it's just simple. That's what they look like. Number 21 happens to be put in the work. And it says, if you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do the things you've never done. Simply put, you must put in the work. Whatever your hopes, goals, and dreams are, it's up to you to do what it takes to make them a reality. And I really can't think of anything more fitting for a Kiwanis club who needs to do some work to reinvigorate themselves, but you're also reimagining yourself. And, you know, that takes some time. And, you know, I know that you know, the club itself has to be willing to have the buy-in and do the work, but we're here to help do that. Val, did you want to address Kim's question?
Yeah, well, I mean, I know every club is different, you know, their membership, but we were kind of at the same point she was maybe about 5 years ago, where I think we had maybe about 14 people in our club, but if we got 8 to attend, it was a great, you know, great turnout. But we have turned things around, and we're up to, you know, 52, 53 people, something like that now. And I mean, it definitely can be done. And some of the changes we made, I mean, we did have, you know, people in there that were, and at that time we were kind of a newer club, maybe 50, I don't know, 12 years in or so, you know, but we did have some that didn't, kind of resisted a few changes as far as our meetings were always at lunchtime, and, you know, that limits who can ever come. Especially us being in a small town, there wasn't a lot of industry, so most people drove out of town. So it was mostly either retirees or stay-at-home moms that were in the club. So, you know, made a change as far as getting one evening, one daytime club meeting. And then I think the key though too was getting more involved with our school and the kids and putting it on social media. Luckily, which one of our school presidents, principal, I see she's on here too. She became involved with the club and is very energetic, and it's a great partnership with the school district because of her, and our former superintendent is also a member, and our current superintendent is a member. And that's really a big key for us. And we've gotten a lot of, I would say, former PTO moms and booster moms. Our club is mostly women. But you know that, I mean, if I would tell you, maybe try to seek out some of those people that their kids are now out of school, but they were the ones that were heavily involved in your school district when their kids were in there, because you know they already are interested in doing things for kids. And a lot of times they're the ones looking for things to do to continue that. So I guess my advice would be, you know, maybe talk to your school district, find out who are some of these parents that were really involved and did a great job, and maybe talk to them to see about joining. And they've got, you know, their own network going too, that they get more people to come in. And that's kind of what's happened with our club, is we've got a lot of those former booster parents and PTO moms that have entered the club. So I guess that's my, you know, advice to a club, to try to work with your school district and identify some people that would be good members for you.
That's perfect. Thank you, Val.
Thank you.
Kim, I feel like that was the world's longest question to the world's shortest, or the longest answer to the world's shortest question. So, guys, but we can connect individually on that as well. If you have access to the chat, I'll put my email address in there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other thoughts or questions, comments, reactions? Well, we almost hit the power hour, but it was the Kiwanis Power 46 minutes, but it was a great conversation. It was recorded, so it's available to reference back to. However, you know, the website itself was the direction that I chose to take tonight, because you could spend a lot of time going through there. And, you know, I think we've heard some success stories as to how sometimes making some minor changes can have a pretty decent ripple effect in the culture of the club, which will include a membership increase. So Governor Mike, with that said, I will turn it back to you.
Well, thank you there, Matt. I'm glad to see people got involved asking questions. That was the idea about tonight, so that worked out well. And it's nice to see some new people here, and hopefully we'll continue to see new people when we do these programs. And if anybody has any questions of me, you have a few minutes there if you want to ask them. If not, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy evening to join us here again. Any questions or comments? Suggestions for future meetings? Yes, Val. Or is that a thumbs up? Okay.
Yeah, just a thumbs up. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank
Good night,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Good
Good
night.
night.